Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit, and welcome to the series which is now known as 15 Minutes of Game, formerly Impress Me, which was a terrible name. This is a show where I give 3 lesser-known games 15 minutes to impress myself and the audience. They get 15 minutes of game to say, hey, we exist, hi, have a look at us, maybe we're pretty good. If you get tired of one particular game before the 15 minutes are up, then check the description below this video, because it has time codes to skip to the next game. Without further ado, let us begin with game number 1. Alright folks, here we go. The first game will be Bombing Bastards, or Bombing Bastards. I prefer Bastards, it's a little bit more northern. This is by Sanok Games, and on initial impression, looking at the screenshots, it looks an awful lot like Bomberman. Although I'm assured by some of the community comments that it is not quite like that. So, as usual on this show, it gets 15 minutes of game, and the time starts now. Alright, here we go. We will begin in adventure mode on Fairy World. Alright, so it's got a bunch of 3-star levels, I see.
Here is the first killing field.
5 minutes to kill all the creatures. Okay, right, so movement is W, A, S, and D. You click to lay a bomb, so yes, this is certainly quite like Bomberman, although it seems to be kind of some kind of puzzle game as well. Okay. The soundtrack is a little bit odd. That's the Nutcracker, isn't it? I believe. Yeah, that's from the Nutcracker suite. I think that's Sugar Plum Fairy, if my classical music education, of which I had some, serves me correctly. If I get this wrong, my mother's gonna be really upset. My dad as well. You know, for years, absolutely years, we listened to Classic FM on the radio. Not a bad choice, all things considered. UK radio stations were never that good to begin with. Can't move all that fast. But I mean, so far this is quite literally Bomberman. The movement's a little bit dodgy, I gotta say. It's a bit slow. Also, the character model is clipping through some of these objects, which is perhaps not good. So far, all of the bomb power-ups have been absolutely identical to Bomberman. But I do love me some Bomberman, so I'm not necessarily going to complain. It's just up to this point, it's shown, frankly, nothing that I would consider to be remotely different or innovative. So hopefully that changes. Alright, well, you can die now. I think that will be the end of that level. Did I just kill myself? I suppose it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. I somehow killed myself. I thought it was behind cover. How exactly did I mess that up? That's embarrassing. It looked like I was behind cover. Do you have to move all the way there? See, what's interesting is that, unless I am not recalling Bomberman correctly, each time you move, you... Oh god, the range on that is terrible. You can sort of be partially behind a rock and still get hit by the blast by the looks of it. If I recall correctly, and maybe it's just been too long since I played Bomberman, but every time you moved a square in Bomberman, so there wasn't really a chance of that happening. But here, you can actually move only part of a square. That's potentially possible. I have to assume that's why I died. I'd have to have a look at the footage again, because that is a little strange, to say the least. Alright, there we go. A few extra bombs here and there. So, I mean, really, in the single-player mode, this is something of a puzzle game in which you are trying to design the optimal route, which will allow you to kill the enemies in the shortest time possible. But, of course, you do have to destroy some of these little bushes in order to try and get some power-ups here and there. It does have a multiplayer mode, so that's always nice. I mean, you can't really have a Bomberman clone without a bloody multiplayer mode, can you? That would be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Art style is a little inconsistent, I would say. Just in the sense that, I mean... Oh, no, god damn it. Now I've got to restart the whole bloody level again, don't I? That's somewhat frustrating. Dying immediately is maybe not the best choice, especially in the early levels. I get it, that's how Bomberman works, but one little mistake and you have to restart the entire level again, which takes several minutes to beat. That's my own personal incompetence, don't get me wrong, but perhaps that's not the best of ideas. Mostly because it means that you're going to be repeating the same content multiple times. I imagine that only gets much, much worse on more complicated levels, too. And it's not like I think, like, the game sort of has a pacing problem at the start because you start with a very, very weak bomb. And, of course, you can only lay one at a time. You've got to wait several seconds for the damn thing to detonate. And it starts you far away from the enemies. But, again, I thought I was behind that. Looking at the position of my shadow, I guess I wasn't fully behind the rock. That is... Would I go as far as to call that a design flaw, or is that my own personal incompetence talking right there? I would really have to test further, but that would also waste these 15 minutes. It also seems like the levels are randomly generated, from what I can tell. At least to some extent. Because I don't remember the enemies being anywhere near as close the last time I attempted this. Very odd to have randomly generated levels when you have numbered stages. I mean, surely that defeats the point of attempting to learn efficiency. Because if the level changes, then you can't keep the same strategy. You can't perfect your strategy. That doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. I mean... It almost seems like the adventure mode is something of an afterthought, and it was really just designed to be a multiplayer Bomberman clone, and... Well, I don't really see the point in that. Is it bringing anything new to the genre, I guess is the question. Well, I haven't played enough of it to know. Okay, this lets me throw a bomb. That's always nice. I don't actually know how to do that. It doesn't tell you what the button for that is. So that's not perhaps the best. Please actually be behind. No, okay, alright, alright. I think after watching that, you understand how broken this is. I was behind that block. There's no way that should have in any way counted as a death. That's awful. I'm sorry, that is absolutely dreadful. No way I was behind the block. We can do a little action replay if you like. See? I was behind the block. I already don't want to play any more of this. Because this is... What? It's very, very slow. And, frankly, it's ridiculously unfair. Even... Oh, 8 characters, of course. Yeah, alright. Well, there are no games to join, which shouldn't really surprise anybody. That is just awful. Look, if you're gonna make a Bomberman clone, make it abundantly obvious as to whether or not you're behind cover. Don't say, alright, well, you're 1 pixel over, so you instantly die and have to restart the level. Don't do that. That's terrible design, as far as I'm concerned. And now, you know, we're back to an entirely different level design here. That's gonna take... at least 30 seconds, maybe even longer, to even get out of the starting area. I mean, look at this. You're spending a lot of time doing nothing at the start of each level. Because it takes time to actually work your way through here. Your bombs are so weak that they can't even reach far enough. So you spend a little bit of time upgrading. Trying not to die horribly. Don't go too fast, because God knows whether or not the game's actually going to let you survive a bomb explosion. As it's going to arbitrarily decide whether or not you're behind cover. Jesus. No, don't do that. Make it abundantly clear to the player whether or not they are safe. And if you don't necessarily want to do that, then at least give them margin for error. Some, at least. Now, this is not a hardcore mode, one would think. This is the first level of a Bomberman clone. It's like, yes, I have a glove. Not that I have any... Okay, that's how you use it. Alright, so you just click the right mouse button. Please don't die. Oh, the game runs at such a snail's pace. It's actually kind of depressing. I suppose it adds to the difficulty, but simultaneously, it just means it's way more frickin' downtime. Okay. Ah, you can throw it the other side. That's kind of a neat feature for multiplayer, I'd imagine. Oh, it didn't quite reach. What a pain. I have no idea if I'm going... Oh, my... I can't! I cannot do it.
This is heavy.
This is awful. I'm not doing 15 minutes of this. I'm sorry. The internet might admonish me for being terrible, but this game is unfairly punishing for no good reason, and it has no excuse for being this way. Maybe we could play the tutorial area.
There you are. The body. Since this is your first.
Oh my god. Oh, you move faster in the tutorial zone for some reason. Oh, now I'm slowing down again. The movement speed's inconsistent for some reason. Very odd.
Fire up.
Very odd.
Now it's time to kick.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we get that. Uh-huh. Or you can right-click, which works. And then throw it. Yes, yes, yes. There we go.
Wonderful. Remember to use one last.
Look, every other Bomberman clone does not do it this way. They don't. They don't do it this way. They try to be fair. They make it obvious that you're behind a sodding piece of cover. Oh my god.
This bomb will only go off when you.
Yes, that's very nice. That's very nice. There we go. It's like you have to overcompensate for the fact that the game really, really wants to horribly murder you. Well, I completed the tutorial, folks. There's planets and planets more of this. But I'm never apparently going to get past level 1, so screw it. No, that's all Bombing Bastards is getting. I'm sorry. That's just not good at all. That's a deal breaker for a Bomberman clone. Absolute deal breaker. Alright, folks, let's move on to the next game. The second game on the chopping block today will be DeadCore by 5-Bits Games. My understanding of this one is that it's some sort of first-person shooter come platformer, I think. That could be either fantastic or disastrous. Its time begins now. Alright. Story mode, new cycle, whatever that means. Let us begin. Well, needless to say, skip through this. Thank you very much. We won't actually get to the gameplay. Not gonna waste your time with anything else. Alright, here we are. Hello. It looks a bit like Tron. Let's run, shall we? There's words coming up on the screen, which means that it is very, very meaningful. There's some sort of hidden message within. This is designed to make you feel intelligent. Jumping's a little bit floaty, deliberately so, I would imagine. You can also change direction in midair, kind of like that. There we go. See? It works. And there's a double jump. How fancy. Look at that. There we go. I think it said something about floating, but no music so far, which is a shame, because there was actually music on the main menu screen, which was really quite nice. Okay, so far so good. We're mostly jumping. What is this? Jumper, propel, powerful, something, something. Alright, so it's a bounce pad then. Not massively keen on the choice of font, I've got to say. If you're going to do the whole, hey, look, we've got instructions appearing in front of you in thin air, you could probably pick a better font to do it with. Because that just looks like Arial. Oh, bloody hell. Thankfully, there is a quick respawn button, which is lovely, because it realizes you're going to be missing jumps time and time and time again. A little bit of noticeable aliasing. I did crank this up to Ultra. It claimed to have a... Oh, no, that was the wrong thing to do. It claimed to have a custom options menu, but whenever I tried to click custom, nothing happened. So this is on Ultra preset. A few jaggies here and there, not perhaps the most effective form of anti-aliasing. Guess it's not really that important. You know, it's a minor nitpick at best. I do like the way that there's little musical leitmotifs every time you hit one of those bounce pads, so I guess that's actually designed to kill you. Alright, good to know, good to know. Be nice to hit another checkpoint, I think. Up we go. Very expansive world design, although... Hello, alright, So what does the gun do exactly? Activate switch gun. Fire, 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 alright. What does it do? Ah, okay. Well, it's a switch gun. It's a gun with switches. It also has a timer on it, which is interesting. Does it have limited ammo? Yes, it does. Okay. Again, good to know. Alright. It's expecting you to make some fairly large jumps. You may have noticed in the opening screen it actually has a speedrun mode, which is, I would imagine, what a lot of people would be interested in getting this game for. One has to wonder how much of a puzzle element the game has, as opposed to merely just jumping and running around the place. Fire, activate, jumper, fire. Okay, alright. Fair enough. I'm not 100% again convinced by those little floating pieces of vague tutorial. Yes, they get the message across, but they're unnecessarily clunky, maybe, I suppose is the term to use. Oh, bloody hell. Alright. Well, did I go in the right direction? I think I did. Okay. Alright, well, that's interesting. Already varying things up a nice amount. There we go, music's now kicked in. That's a beautiful looking world, I gotta say. Massive levels, by the looks of it. Absolutely dauntingly massive levels. Okay, so now you deactivate the jumper so that you can actually run through that in the first place. Yeah, I like the idea of using a gun to do all this stuff, because for speedrunning, that's essentially something that encourages a degree of accuracy. I can dig that. Obviously, for me, it just makes things fiddly, but the game is clearly designed with... oh, bloody hell. With speedrunning in mind. So, again, I can dig that. I have to wonder if it will be used in any sort of complex puzzles, or if it really is just a test of dexterity and accuracy. I mean, personally, I'd prefer it just be a... oh, test of dexterity and accuracy, but that's because I'm an absolute moron. A log, okay. Alright, don't really care too much about that. Turret, danger. Lost one, okay. Shoot to deactivate it briefly. And it looks like you get your ammo back every time you end up hitting a... checkpoint. Alright. Okay. Well, so far, so good. Nice to have a little... well, it would be nice to have perhaps a little bit of wall running, but it doesn't look like that's necessary. I think you can probably avoid using as much ammo as well on those turrets. I have a feeling the later levels are going to make ammo conservation a big, important thing. Cut a few corners here and there as well. Although if I'd fired before I'd made that jump, that would have sped things up a little bit. I'm already seeing areas that I can optimize here, which is what I like. And I imagine that's the sort of thing that a speedrunner would be very interested in. They're looking for ways and means to get faster, and the game's got to be able to support that. Interesting. So that doesn't immediately kill you. You can actually save yourself. It's a knockback, but if you move quickly enough, you can not die to that. One thing I will say is that the game doesn't do a cracking job of distinguishing between actual platforms and areas of the level which are clearly not designed to be jumped on. I guess that's not the world's biggest problem ever, but I think it's because of these little neon blue lines. They seem to be being applied so liberally that it can actually be a little bit difficult to distinguish between platforms and just areas of the background. Generally, I find that's not a particularly... oh, bloody hell. Not a particularly good idea. I imagine in later levels, again, that could be a bit of a problem. What would be nice? I don't know, would it make it too easy if they color-coded it? It's entirely possible that it would. If you want to think about it from a different point of view, if you did end up color-coding the area that you had to jump on, that would take away a degree of the challenge. Which is... yeah, I suppose that makes maybe a bit more sense. It seems like there's multiple paths around the place. Not 100% sure. Maybe one of those was just a red herring and there was only really one right way to go. Alright, well, this isn't too bad so far. It's not my kind of game, but I can respect what it wants to do. What? Transmitter project far will far. Alright. That is still my biggest complaint, I think, about it. Just being completely unnecessarily silly. Ah, music. Okay. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Also, aiming with the iron sights, which you can actually do. It's a slight zoom. Also changes the mouse acceleration, which is not particularly helpful. Not too keen on that. I'm not even sure what I'm looking to do here. Oh, well, that's lovely. Yeah, I mean, this stuff doesn't need to be there. Like, it doesn't... Bloody hell. It doesn't add anything to the game. In fact, I would say it does, frankly, exactly the opposite. It detracts from it. It's overly pretentious, and it doesn't actually explain what the mechanic is particularly well. So, I'm not massively keen on the inclusion of that. Oh my god. Well, that's making me bloody dizzy, isn't it? Alright, is this the right move? Oh, well, I survived, so I suppose it kind of is, but I have a feeling that I'm not going to get much further than that. Yeah, because there's no way I can actually make that jump. Oh, bloody hell, Oh, I wonder if I clipped through that, or if it just knocked me off. Hard to tell either way, really. Okay, so when is that angle up to? Alright, so I think this is the right time to jump. And I would be completely mistaken. And at that point, you might as well just hit the reset button. Okay, this is the right time to jump, alright. It looked like it was slightly higher than it really was. So actually it fired you below rather than above. What? Okay then. Well, this is just a straight up jumping puzzle by the looks of it. Okay. Oh, I can't go any higher than that, I suppose. Can I get on this platform? Is that possible? Nope. So, it almost seems like you've got to get on that platform initially, then jump to the next one, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. Which means we've got to wait for that to come around. That is really making me dizzy. It's just, I think the sheer scale of it that's doing me in. It could be a field of view thing as well. I'll have to double check the options menu to see if there actually is field of view in there. I didn't see it. Whoa, what is all of this? Alright, let's just have a quick look at settings. Because there's... Oh. Interesting. Clicking settings, alt-tabbed me out of the game and crashed it. Alright. Well, I suppose we're going back in a moment. We're going to pause the timer. Okay, we're back in, and I was able to alter the field of view somewhat. Yes, it was a little low by default. It does go up, bloody hell, to 90. So, that should be enough for most people. I think it was just a combination of a lower field of view with all of this spinning terrain that was really doing my head in, so... That should hopefully be a little bit better now. There we go. Deactivate the helix thingy. Okay, so just shoot it. Alright, fair enough. Well, it's gradually introducing new mechanics. I looked through... Oh, which way am I going from here? Do I have to deactivate that to jump it? Probably. Jump up here, then... Oh, Christ. Nope, not the way to go. It's pushing me off for some reason. It's a little bit weird. Okay, there we go. That should do the trick. I noticed in the starting screen for the level that it was possible to level up some different skills like dashes. So there are other moves that you can do. I just haven't got the dash move yet. I have a feeling the dash move could be really interesting and could open up a lot more speedrunning possibilities. Apparently I need the sparks for some reason. Well, the game doesn't tell me why, although I do appear to be now moving slightly faster, so maybe that's got something to do with it. Yeah, oh damn it. Yes, this game's definitely got some merit. No doubt about that. It's not my sort of thing, but the level design is really interesting. Although, again, it does appear to be linear. I do like the fact that it gives you the opportunity to recover from mistakes. And the way that it does that is by allowing you to alter your trajectory mid-jump. Oh my, okay. What am I looking for here? Okay, you can jump on the side, that's fine. Ah! That's just evil. Didn't even show me that before I jumped into it. That's a reaction test. And the game alt-tabbed again. And has crashed. Well... I mean, I like the game, certainly. I think it's a decent amount of fun, but 2 crashes in 5 minutes is not exactly a good start. Your mileage may vary, needless to say, when it comes to that kind of thing, but these crashes are frustrating, to say the least, so I would recommend that you do check the Steam forum if you're considering purchasing this to see if this is a little bit more commonplace. It may just be me, but it's very, very rare that I have games crash on this system. Very rare indeed. Having one crash twice within 5 minutes is not a particularly good indicator. Huh. Well, that is very strange. Aside from that, though, DeadCore seems to be pretty good if you're into the first-person platforming, speedrunning kind of thing. I personally am not, but I like the idea that it makes use of a gun which requires, obviously, a certain degree of accuracy in order to complete the platforming sections. It has some reflex tests, it has some minor puzzle elements here and there. I will say the mouse sensitivity feels just a little bit off. I'm not really sure why that is, and there's been a few mentions on the Steam forums as regards to that particular subject. The aim-down sight system is perhaps the most egregious example of that. The mouse acceleration is far more obvious there. But at least in the first level, it didn't seem like you'd really need to use that all that much. It's got promise, no doubt about that, but I am very concerned about those crashes. The thing about crashes, of course, is it could be just my system. It's hard to really know, so perhaps you shouldn't judge it on that. For the most part, it seems to be a fairly well-implemented first-person speed-running platformer with a competitive edge to it. Might be worth looking into if that is your bag. Alright, let's move on to, hopefully, the final game, and please, I hope this one has no problems. The final game on the block today is The Sun and Moon, brought to you by Daniel Linson. This is the winner of the Ludum Dare 29 competition. It is a puzzle platformer of sorts involving what appears to be some sort of kind of drilling mechanic and the idea of momentum and gravity. I'm intrigued. For some reason it runs at a very weird resolution. 1920 by 1040 was selectable, not 1080. I'm not sure where the other 40 pixels went. Maybe they went into bribing the judges, who knows? Allegedly. Didn't mean that. That's a joke. Relax, good lord. I know tensions are high at the moment. It gets 15 minutes like any other, and its time begins now. I don't know what any of that is. Okay. Alright. Jump and move. Right, well that seems easy enough. It also has a retry button. I assume I am this tiny thing. And, you know, it's got a very minimalist art style, but I already love the little trail that you get as you go. I don't know. I'm trying to identify a specific reason why. I just kind of like how it looks. I think I just started that accidentally again. Alright, so I assume you have to pick up the little things and then move on to the next level. Alright, let's actually try and select the next level. A little annoying that it doesn't select the next level by default, because that means you can very much accidentally press it. Okay, I don't know what any of those are. Oh, okay, so this is, I believe, the main mechanic of the game. And one assumes you use that to build momentum, I would think. So you can kind of drill through the earth, as it were. So if I hold shift, I'll maintain my momentum, but gravity, and the center of gravity, of course, kind of being here on the ground, is going to affect how far I can go. So if I use that, that's cool. That's actually really satisfying to pull off. You'd be surprised. It's another one of those games with sort of fairly simple mechanics, and yet... And I think I'm actually going to have to hit restart. No, actually, no, of course not. I can just drill through that. Yeah, there you go. You can actually just do that as well, so... Oh, there we go. It's one of those games, again, with very simple mechanics, but very effective. It reminds me, actually, of 6180 The Moon. That also... Well, 6180 The Moon kind of did things differently. Instead of allowing me to sort of drill through to the opposite side of the platform, it said, look, basically, there is no bottom or top in this game. So... you can ignore all of that, and everything loops around vertically. There we go. This is really neat, though. Alright. Oh, we can pick different directions. Okay. It's a little bit weird. So we can actually kind of backtrack here. So I assume if we pop up there... Nope. Can I drill all the way through? I don't have quite the momentum to get there. Okay. Alright, this is already getting interesting, to say the least. What happens if I drill through the other side? Oh, I die. Okay, good to know. I suppose... No, you can't release in time either, so it's worth making a note of. But you can use your momentum to kind of go through there. Looks like each platform sort of has its own little center of gravity, like it's its own little gravitational mass. So as a result, as long as you can get enough momentum up to get to the next point, it will give you another slingshot effect. That's really cool. Although, it definitely takes some getting used to. Because in order to get up there, you just kind of hold the shift to sort of clip through it, hold the shift to clip through it again. There we go. Gain enough momentum to pop up to the top. And then I suppose we can... We actually, strangely enough, can't get all the way through that. Oh, bloody hell. Held shift for too long. Can't get all the way through that because it just pops me back up again. Alright, so just do that. Release it then. And then that's that, isn't it? Yes, but I still have to get to there, which you do that way. Cool. I don't know. I assume those are par times there. So I'm terrible, basically. I'm neither the sun or the moon. I am a waste of space. Thanks, game. Ooh, alright. Music is highly repetitive. If I had any complaint about that, it would be the music is... I mean, I don't like the style of the music at the best of times. It's very, very basic chiptune stuff. Really basic. And that's not really my thing. I was thinking maybe I could... Ooh, hello. Some very strange things going on here. Ah! There we go. And then we can just kind of clip around there. Yeah, I suppose you could actually do this very quickly if you didn't screw up constantly, as I do. It's kind of using the gravity momentum to reach that. There we go. And then we can just kind of hurl ourselves up through there, hopefully, without messing up. There we go. Nice. But there's not really a huge amount of merit to the soundtrack. I imagine it was something of an afterthought in the competition, and I don't blame them for that at all. It says no competition about mechanics, really, as opposed to anything else. There we go. It grabs that. Then we can kind of shoot it up there. Use the slingshot. Then mess up horribly and ruin everything. There you go. Nope. Not quite there. Oh, bloody hell. It's a really cool little game mechanic, though, and the levels are obviously very well designed, but... I don't mind the visuals. They're bare bones, needless to say, but I do like the animation on the... I suppose you'd call it the main character, I guess. Oh! I was hoping I would stop my momentum just before I got there, and, well, I didn't. So... Okay, we can just kind of shoot it up through there. There we go. Mess that up completely. This does take quite a bit of getting used to. And... That's not quite enough. We could probably just do this. There we go. That'll do the trick. But yes, this music actually needs to stop. We could replace this with pretty much anything. I'm gonna be honest. And I would prefer it. The problem is it doesn't change on level-by-level basis. And maybe there's some more music later on, but... Even the title screen music was really, really basic. Come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, get up there. Get up there. Alright. Okay, so that's 8 levels beaten. I wonder if that's just levels beaten or par times. I'm certainly hoping it's just levels beaten. Otherwise, this is not going to go very well. I wonder if this game has leaderboards, actually. I know it's got par times, but I wonder if there's any kind of little competitive edge to the game. It would certainly be cool if it did have that. Ah, yes. So that's enough momentum to get up there. There we go. Definitely makes you think differently. I like games that make you think differently about the logic. I managed to miss that twice now. Let's try it once more. There we go. Lovely. And you can head in that direction if I have completed enough levels. Try this. There we go. There's not really much more to say about it. Like it is a very, very simple game with one basic mechanic that works really, really well, which just takes a little bit of getting used to. I think it's less about, I suppose, gravity, and more about somehow as you drill you can build a little bit more momentum. Oh, this looks horrendous. So my guess is that I cannot touch those. Alright, and I don't have anywhere near enough momentum to get up there. That's not enough to drill down there. Yes, that will kill me. Ooh, this is evil. Ah, okay. I could just jump up there and then fall down and then drill and hope not to drill too far. Oh, but you do, because you're falling quite rapidly. So you've got to kind of somehow slow your descent as you kind of come down there. Oh man, this is difficult. Yeah, this is infuriatingly difficult. Oh man. You can't just straight up bounce up there either. I guess you could do it that way. And then you probably have to jump down, grab that mid-air, grab the other one as you bounce up, hope that you haven't got too much momentum so that it catapults you right into the spikes. And then try and beat the level from there. Jeez. Evil, evil, evil game. Is this... Yes, I was right. Excellent. Okay. Now can I get up here and not mess this up? Now, how do I get up there? I guess I've got to do the same jump again and then use that to bounce. So if I was using it properly... What I would have done is I would have grabbed the one in the air, grabbed the one in the block, and then on the way back up, I would have bounced up onto that platform. But I wasn't thinking that far ahead, because I am a moron when it comes to games like this. Okay, here we go. Oh, too much! Damn! Too much momentum now. Okay, well, we can do those 4 jumps fairly easily. This requires drilling to get to the top. There we go. So let's see if we can not mess it up this time. Up we go! There we go! Lovely. That's actually really satisfying when you nail it. Although, apparently, the par time for that is 7.3 seconds. That's crazy. What? Oh, my God. Alright, so as long as you release at the right time, that works. For this one, I think I'll have to jump. Yep, there we go. For this, I can... No, can't drill, because it accelerates you towards it as you do that. So you can drill here. You jump to drill here. You... Do you still jump to drill? Maybe you... bounce down. No, that springs you up with too much. I don't think the physics are unpredictable. They're just a little bit unusual. You just have to... It takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to the rule set of the world. And figure out where the gravity is. Because jumping there gives you too much momentum. So it springs you right back up into the spikes. Jumping here is actually, is it? Is it necessary? Okay, well, you can just kind of have a little hop there. Little hop there. Little hop there. And this is the part where we probably die. Okay. Alright, so in that case, you jump with a shallow arc, and on the way down, when the arc is fairly shallow, that's when you activate your drill, so it doesn't catapult you into the spikes. Yeah, this is really neat. Again, shame about the soundtrack. But, yeah, that's not exactly a big complaint. You can turn it off, it's not really a big deal. There we go, and then just drill through there. Sweet. That was... And that felt good as well. I thought I'd nailed it there. It's like, no, 6 seconds. Like, oh, come on. Never in a million years. Never in a million years am I going to make that happen. Ah. You know, I should play some more Ludum Dare stuff, because if it's all like this, or at least similar to this, where it's just one very interesting and well-executed mechanic, then I can probably get into a lot of games like that. I dig them a great deal. Alright. Well, I mean, I don't really have much else to say about it, honestly. So I don't think there's necessarily a need to continue. I'm not gonna stop it prior to the 15 minutes because I don't like it. It's really kind of the opposite, that the last 5 minutes of this would really just be me rabbiting on for no reason. So I have nothing else to say on the topic. It is a simple game, but a well-executed one. Well, at least we managed to get something particularly cool out of this episode. Took a little bit of work to find it, but it was there. Yeah, there you go. It was definitely there. It's by the name of The Sun and Moon, folks. For all the games that you've seen today, you can find them on Steam if you so desire. I think you've probably figured out which ones I enjoyed and which ones I certainly did not. Or which one, specifically, I certainly did not. Kind of hope the DeadCore doesn't have widespread crashing problems and it really was just my system. Although, again, that is highly unusual. Highly unusual. Yeah, drill down from there. Nope, too far. That doesn't work. How do you do this one? Oh, yeah, if you drill down to that block. Maybe. Maybe? Or is that again? Yeah, that's too far as well. Puzzling. Very puzzling. Actually, I think there's enough momentum just to go through that entirely. Yep, there is. There we go. Whoop, whoop. Nope, nope. Oh. Yep. Oh, come on, part-time. Damn, I missed the hole. Ah. I was gonna be my one crowning glory, and it never happened. Well, there you go, folks. That is And it looks like it's got a hell of a lot of levels as well. That is The Sun and Moon by Daniel Linson. That is a pretty cool game indeed. Thank you very much for watching 15 minutes of game. Sorry for the problems that we had, but such is unfortunately the nature of playing random games. Sometimes they don't work as advertised, I am afraid. We'll see you next time.